The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Deepak Biscuitwala. I am the host for the today's webinar. And today's webinar is about personal well-being, your unique journey to success, part 1. This webinar we're going to have in two parts, and today is the part 1. Before I introduce our speaker, I would like to just give you some um, if you have any question, please type your question under the question section on your right side panel, and we will address your question at the end of the webinar. And this webinar is 45 minutes long, and 15 minutes gonna be for question and answer Q&A. uh, to receive your one continuous education credit, you have to be on the webinar at least 35 minutes to 40 minutes. So anyway, let me introduce today's speaker, Dr. Jesus Gilberto. Concepcion Garcia is the global chair of the Human Development and Leadership Division and fellow of the ASQ. He is very active doing research related to science, management, and leadership. He has published many papers and given conferences in ASQ congresses and around the world. Please welcome Dr. Gilberto.
Thank you, Deepak. Good evening, everybody. Nice to have you with me. I am Jesus Gilberto Concepcion Garcia. By legal reasons, I am using my two names and my two family names. And I am very glad to have you with me tonight. I hope we can go around with you and have a new way of thinking. Or, as the title says, well-being, your unique journey to success. And in the handwriting that you got, this is like an athlete. And you have to train the brain like if you were an athlete. And if you want to be an elite athlete, you have to start knowing what are you doing. And after you know what you are going to do, then you start practicing. So tonight, we are going to have the first part seminar. And the practicing will be in the second part seminar. I am located in Dominican Republic. For those that are just joining the Dominican Republic, my presenter Deepak is in Chicago. And our moderator is in San Diego. So it's a global, that's what I say, a global webinar, because of the three people interacting, we are in different, very far away. So I like to tell a little bit of what we're going to do. And you won't believe, when we train athletes, I try to go first teaching them science. And it's an introduction to understanding basic science, and the most beautiful word, I think, is symmetry. I will go then to talk about the results on those from the experimental data that we got. We have done the several analysis, electroencephalograms, and heat analysis to understand then what really is well-being. Then in the second part that we'll go to that, we're going to train something about brain fitness and dynamic symmetry. So this is a basic what we're going to do tonight. Let's see if we can keep moving a little bit. And this is nice. We're going to talk about science. And this is a picture recreated. We think this is the Big Bang moment. And if we're going to talk about science, I'm going to move a little bit about the development of the universe, just trying to get you to the symmetry part of anything. And after the Big Bang, they say, look, was the initial of the universe. Sometimes I think I don't if the universe was an implosion of another. The starting universe, the universe was a explosion of another universe. But this is the Big Bang, and then you won't believe that Big Bang was a particles, and for many 100 years, the universe was of particles. The particles are very hot, get together, and they start forming atoms. Or before atoms, they came, photons, electrons, protons, neutrons. Before that they were the quarks. And then they formed the hydrogen atom in the beginning. But about 500,000, 500,000 years, it came the first molecule. This is the hydrogen molecule. And this is, I think, the most important part of the universe, because when the hydrogen atom forms, the excitation of the hydrogen molecules create light. And I say this is where real dance began. Because after we have light, these hydrogen atoms start growing and forming with the other atoms, forming big molecules. And they start forming, and they say this is like a soup of molecules, of small molecules, and they start forming they form both at the end. This is an organic molecule forms of 4 centers of carbon. And this is very important to hear that 4 centers. And then about 10 billion years later, then they start forming molecules, amino acids, and all that. And 10 billion after that moment, I think we start forming benzene, all the amino acids, and it came life. And that is when all the planets forming, all the stars forming, and the real life, came. And we know that if we go for the human being, we probably are 10,000 years old. But to recreate that and to see that, I'm going to show you this picture. This picture tells all about what I said before. And just wanted to say, look, big particles was a very big thing, because when it was discovered, they gave the Nobel Prize of Physics in 214. And this is the Big Bang, how we move until it came light came in, and then the expansion of the universe, and in 3 billion years, they came our system, but that is only 3 billion, and the life of probably a human being is here, and we are 13.6 billion years old. But all the thing is I talk about the butadiene 4 centers, and then we talk about benzene, and benzene is a molecule of 6 atoms, 6 carbon atoms, but it has 4 levels of energy. Again, 4 levels of energy, not 6, because two of the levels have the same energy. And for scientific reasons, we say we have 4 levels of energy. And that is all what I want to tell you about science. And I want to go back and see to the basics that I told you. And I show you in this picture. I hope everything saw the picture. And what did you see? I'm going to recreate that. So you see just a very nice picture. Probably you are part of the 95% of the people, but if you see here a middle and you see a reflection, if you see in the same time, my congratulations. I hope at the end you told me that everybody saw this from the first time, because that is symmetry, and that's the way we act and things that to change from one side to the other, you have to change from one symmetry to the other symmetry. And that's the way computers works. That is the way molecules works. And I say, look, if that happened to molecules, to computers, and that happens here in the earth, happening in the universe, it have to happen also in the brain. And since we keep talking about a little bit about science, this was when I went to the equator, I was invited for a good friend, Cesar Diaz, I hope he's here, from Equator, and I went to the equator line. I am here in the middle of the equator line, but they show, and here is the, when they say, look, this is the latitude 0, 0, 0, only 1, 0. And they told me there is a mistake, and this is the mysterious of the equator line, okay? Because this is not the center. They took me 80 meters to the south, to the Itintawa museum, when they say now, where we are latitude 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We are in the center, but do you believe this? In order to believe this, I'm going to go directly to this experiment. They brought me a sink, put that sink, fill it with water, in the center line, it was coming like in the shower. When they move it to the south, here was the experiment, the water was moving clockwise. And that was moving 1 foot to the south, 1 foot to the north, counterclockwise. It's the same picture that I showed you before. And that's when I said, look, if that happened to this in the earth, happened in the university, it happened to the brain. I remember now that after that I came studying all my story for 4 years, and I said, look, this is a picture of a force center. This is the force center, and in here are more or less coefficients. And I remember that I present talking about this graphic into leadership and management. I had the opportunity to present this before this man. He's still alive. This is Leo Lederman, Nobel Prize of Physics in 1996. And I did a presentation, a 5-minute presentation, talking about this symmetry, leadership, management. And he told me, you have my blessing. And after that, I said, look, there were 3 Nobel Prizes, nobody is going to stop me. That is what I said, look, before we talk leadership and management, we have to know a little bit about symmetry. And he wrote a book, The Beauty of the Symmetry in the Universe. And this graphic was my graphic, was in that book. And I thank him for doing that. And let's practice a little bit of symmetry. What about here? What did you see? 1 letter, right? I remember talking about that the change is governed by symmetry, because what do you see now? You see 1 letter or 4 letters? It's only 1 letter that we have turned around, and you have to. I'm going to show you that you cannot change from here to here, but you have to go step by step, because in science you have to go like a circle. That is any process. You cannot go from here to here because you have 2 steps, and I would say this is not permitted. It's not that it's not going to work, but it's more difficult, and a lot of things can happen in between that. I remember that in 214, I went to the WCQI, that is the World Conference in, I remember the speaker was Eric Wall, was a painter, and he drew this paint. When he finished, he turned around and look what we have. We had the Einstein face. And then I went to him. He wrote a book. He was signing a book. By that time, I just finished writing the book with Marilyn Monda that is around here today. And I tell him, look, with this figure, you can have 2 different positions. Say, but with my B, you can have 4. And I gave him the book, and I said, look, he had me to sign and put BPQD. Say from now on, this is your signature. This is the writing signature. He came so simple, and I said, look, this is what we're going to talk is about simple things. It is like that. You won't believe that this is a reflection of a bulb into a LED TV. And look what you see. A reflection of 4. It's like BPQD. I'm not going to go deep in this, but it's telling you this is life, this is life. And you saw those pictures before, and in here are what I say, look, the combination for it's not 25%, 25%, 25%. No, it have to be in here that are the 2 levels of people that are very successful, what we call leadership or management. And this is we have about 30% of the red. You will see it later. What is the red? 20% of the blue and yellow, and of the green. Those are so the final. When we talk anything, it's like say you got a mission, you got a mission, and you got a vision. This is the end and the beginning and the end, the vision and your mission. And you will see how they have to work in order to that. And those are the most important thing. Because to have success, you have to know where you want to go, but then you have to prepare, have the knowledge in order to go by the process. And this is those are formulas. I don't want to talk about this because this is quantum mechanics. I just want to tell you, and it's the same thing. The equator line, one turning around, the other turning around, is the same, and the symmetry that you saw in the picture is the same. A thing happens in the brain. And if you have a magnets, look how they are. And I say, look, this is those 2 levels are the most important levels. In here, it's in the brain is when you are asleep. And when you are in here, you are all excited, and this is the high level of stress, excited, stress, and in order to be successful, you will understand today, and then we were going to practice in part 2 about the importance of those 2 levels. The brain is the same thing. The brain, let's go to the brain. The brain have 4 levels, again, 4 levels of energy. When you are deep sleep, I call that resting. When you are in relax, meditation, problem solving, Einstein used to get to that 2nd level, putting a book in his hand, each of his hand, then he tried to go sleeping. When the books came from his hand, he was in that 2nd level. That was when he started thinking. That was teaching of Einstein. And then you have the 3rd level that I call the leadership, because this is the part of the emotion, but you are now creative. You can visualize the future, and those are leader. And here you have to solve problems. Those are management. And that's what I say, you have to be in between the 2nd and the 3rd, and if you can be in between, you are very successful. And the last one is more energy, and it's where you are, is the stress. And many people, what they do is, if they take a lot of drugs that have to be with the stress, you can pass, excuse me, that brain barrier, and you can suicide. And the same thing if you go down. Then let's go get into the management and to the leadership and all what you are waiting for. That was just the beginning of all the science. Now, I have seen that if you talk about quality, if you talk about Deming, if you talk about profit knowledge, if you talk about leadership management, if you talk about talent, if you talk about fun, elite athletes, musicians, artists, if we talk about well-being, dynamic intelligence, Talk about science, symmetry, brain, neuroscience, neurotransmitter, pharmaceuticals, okay, drugs, molecules, orbital theory, common people, colors. You won't believe. This is all governed by 4 states. And there are many hundreds. I just put a few. And I'm going to show you here now those 4 words. Here, many of the people that are here in this seminar, you can do a plan, do, check out. This is Deming, right? You talk about results, process, people, creativity. And the second one is result, process, people, innovation. What is the difference in between two? Because the creativity have to go with the leadership, but the innovation is management, putting the ideas to work. That is problem solving. And from that, you can find who has the leadership style of thinking, the management style of thinking. But if you go like to the words, you know, says solid, liquid, plasma. It's like I say, earth, water, gas, say air, and then fire. It's the same thing, 4 states. And that's when I came in 1996 with the idea of my dynamic intelligence. And dynamic intelligence, you have seen many, multi-intelligence, creative intelligence. I said, look, let's put it in the 4 states: analytical, practical, social, and creative. If you remember BP, QD, and we can analyze that in you, how analytical, how practical, how social, and how creative you are. And we have now the model, the scientific model of the Buddha DNA, and we try to develop that in you. We can tell you the possibility of success. You won't believe this. I do that with world-class athletes in my country. The volleyball team, feminine, the ladies volleyball team, I work with them, the one that is playing right now, when they were 17 years old. And I was able to pick up the best thinking style, the one that were in between the second and third level. Still they are playing. And this team have been in the top 10 of the world in the last 6 years. How you like that? I have worked with even boxers. Boxers is very nice. The only thing, the problem is that unfortunately they hit their brain, and at the end they finish up with Parkinson and dementia and all that very easy. But training like a boxer is very interesting, but not playing, not hitting each other, but training like a boxer. Then we can go here. Also, let me tell you, I do with chess player. I have with athlete, Olympic athlete, baseball player. I have been able to show players at 17 years old that now they are in the major leagues. But that is enough. Let's go now to computers. If we go to computers, say binary combination, 0-0, but then 0-1, 1-1, 1-0. This is the combination, the binary combinations on only 2 things that make you 4 states, and they might be 4 states, any of this. But this is the first one, the second one, the third one, and the 4th one. You have to go by 1 every time. Here you go by 1, by 1, by 1. You cannot go from the first to the third because it's by 2. Need from the second to the 4 because it's also a chain in 2. If we go to now to neurotransmitters, I go deep to the brain now. The same thing happened with these neurotransmitters. Okay, but this is not for tonight. This might be for a 3rd part seminar where I can go to do pure science and pure chemistry. Those are the levels of the brain. And this is we call this sleep, emotional, motivational, and distress. This is the way drugs act. If they are anesthetic or calm, analgesic, they act in the first level. And they have a specific chemistry formula. If they are calm to keep you, is the second level, they have another situation. And all this is symmetry. This for the cell level, and this for the fourth level. It's like if by any time you have a very strong headache, if you want to get calm, usually we have a combination of one drug here, one drug here, one drug here, and you see, it's like taking you step by step. The same when I talk about hydrogen, ethane, butadiene, benzene, it's the same thing. And colors, red, yellow, blue, and green. And here, the real way is red, yellow, green, and blue. But in here, that is the same. I make a symmetry change because remember, the first and the four had to get together, and green and red are one is the reflection of the other. When you see red, your brain is seeing green, and when you see blue, is yellow. And also happening in chemistry. And if I talk about a little bit about DNA, it goes like the combination of the four bases are, they get together blue and yellow and red and green. How about that? And now, if we go to well-being, let's go to well-being. We talk about intellectual, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And when we talk about this, you have to have knowledge, you have to practice, you have to be with the other people. This is the people side, and you have to be spiritual. That is when you get it that level to make you go to higher level, to make your brain really work and be creative of an innovator. And if we talk about now physical, you have to know how the brain works. You have to know how your body works. That is the physical part. You have to know how the emotional works, and that the spiritual. How you like that? Up to now, I think I have taken you, and this is when we talk about plan, do, check, act. Say quality, leadership, in here management. When we talk about matter, that is what I talk, that dynamic. This is all what I've been saying. These are the results: dynamic intelligence, the binary number of computer, neurotransmitter, brain energy, personal state, pharmaceuticals, drugs. This is the basic chemistry. Those are the colors. This is well-being. And in here, this one is, I'm sorry, you have to go here. This is the personal fitness. There is a new way talking about ikigai. It's a Japanese expression for well-being. That says it's a way to keep. If you can do, I understand that you can have a very young brain into a old brain, and that's what I tell. Everything in here is talking about a young brain into an old body. If you can understand, you can practice all this, you can change a lot. And here are the colors. This is just expressing you red, yellow. I put it in black because one of my moderators, it was in green. They say, look, in yellow, you don't see it too good. I put it, remember, in here, and for this slide, black is yellow. Okay, let's talk about a little business here. I took this from a book, Talent is Overrated, in 1908, and I say, do we have the necessary talent to have the potential of success? And in this book, they say, look, you have to have knowledge. You have to practice at least 10,000 hours. And 10,000 hours, it means practicing 3 hours every day, 10 years. And I don't think you're going to, what I'm telling you, if you practice 3 hours a day in 10 years, no, you want that very fast. Okay? You have to know yourself and you have to have passion. That's when I say, look, you have to know your brain in here. You have to practice, but if you know how to practice, you can be very fast if you have the whole process. You have to know yourself and other people. And that is the people orientation. And then you have to know your heart. Because that's what is the passion. Your heart will dominate your brain. Or the brain dominate your heart, wherever you want to say it. But this is the passion. This is the passion. That is the mission. That will be the quality politics. And in here is the people orientation. Or I would say, no, this here is your values, and this is the people orientation. This is the present, the past, people, and the future. So, with a combination of aptitude and attitude. And this is a very nice combination because there is something, aptitude is something that you can measure, something physically, okay? And attitude is something that moves. It's the motivation, something that moves. And if you have something with some weight that move, this is Isaac Newton formula: force is equal to mass times acceleration, and you can do whatever it is. And the faster you move and that body, then you can have more potential of success. This is what we call now the new kid on the block. What is the new kid on the block? It's the superior. That is when I talk well-being. And it's a young brain inside an old body. Living a life to keep your brain always young and increase the potential of success. That is the starting, and that's what we are doing. And for that, let's put now something to work. I have developed what we call a dynamic 16 evaluation, where I can get the relation in between all the intelligence and transition, and will be the different intelligence, like the relation of different intelligence and capital that a person, a department, or an organization has. And it's very simple. You remember the 4 states when I take red, green, yellow, blue. And it says 0, 0, 0, 1, and you have all those words: solid, water, air, plasma, land, water, air, fire, or whatever you want. And this is pure physics. And when I talk pure physics, the aptitude will be what we call enthalpy, and this is the entropy. But now if we go to dynamic, if we go to dynamic intelligence, and then we go analytical, practical, social, and creative, the same thing. That is aptitude. That will be intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence. And that's when I say that dynamic intelligence is a combination into intellectual and emotional. Which one is the most important? Somebody says emotional, the other says intellectual. And I say, look, it's a combination. And when you have that combination with a binary combination, this is not linear, it's a binary combination. It's not 25, 25, 25, 25. It's 30%, 20%, 20%, 30%. Then, and if you move in this way, those are permitted. In this one, it's not non-permitted, but it's more difficult. And now, if you have a lot of analytical, when I say, look, if you have a lot of analytical thinking, you are traditional. But you have this combination, yellow and red, and you are practical. In this, you are social. In here, you are curious. This one, when you have a yellow, a green, and blue, most you are spontaneous. And when you have all 4, they say, hey, you are balanced. And sometimes say that is good. No. In order to be success, you have to unbalance. And this is when you are too green, you are creative. And when you have this one here, of you seeing this is a real combination. 30%, 20%, 20%. This is the entrepreneur. When we find people here, only 5% of the people has that combination, and that real, you can have it from the combination and creative and traditional. The potential of success increases. In here is a graphic that shows all the results. I will say in the equator line, the third level, the second level here. Now you can see those figures that I was talking. This is the management and this is leadership. But I found something very interesting. Here, people that have those two combinations, I said that those are people that are born, and in here those are made. Here you can say, look, leadership. Sometimes we say leadership are born, but management are made, and that's something relation people is talking. And those are the first one when you are balanced and equilibrated, And in here you are. Those are the social and the curious. We have to work on that and here you can see the transitions. Those are the permitted one, but this is not permitted. I don't want to say this is the pattern, and let me show you some results. People like here that I found, people that I found in organizations that are being able to work, that they go to the like janitors, and they become to be manager of selling. How you like that? Manager of marketing. I have seen that being the plant manager. People that have that thinking style, that parameter is using the front part of the brain. There, I have done a lot of work, but that will be shown in the second part. For those of you that are interested, I invite you to be in our second part. I will announce that for January, where we'll talk that how doing electroencephalogram, heat analysis. We get also that people, because these people, business people, politicians, scientists, employee, sportsmen and women, educator, leaders and manager. Usually I'm talking about this 5% or less. Okay, this is another model. So those are the born people that thank God, they have to thank God that they came to this universe or to this world with that model in the brain. But others are made, like this one. In here, it was the best high jump woman for 3 years. She was the best in Latin, in all America. He only need 1 inch to be world champion. But I'm going to tell you why. Due to knowledge, she didn't get the knowledge to get to be the world champion. But in America, she was the best for 12 years. And this is here is our best tennis player in Dominican Republic. He started late, but he has been in the best 100 in the last 5 years. Sorry, I have to get back. How can I get back? Okay, so I'm going to think.
Gilberto, you can, there you go.
Okay, I got it. What is it? The potential of success, okay? Now you can see all this in this first part seminar. The potential of success is trying to be in the second and third level of the brain energy, of the scientific energy, whatever it is. And there is a lot of books around, And I think sometimes There are people who talk very nice, but what is inside that speech? If you can make a cross and divide the presentation in the 4 stage, you'll see that you are going to have it that, and the brain will get it, and you have memorized for the rest of the life. It's just saying like a BPQD. If you were able tonight to see the BPQD of what I'm talking, you are starting to have a better combination in between your right brain, right hemisphere, and your left hemisphere, because you are expanding the corpus callosum, but that will come in the second part. And I said, look, the thing is that you can, when you are in the lower level, let's say you have a transversal transition, and we have to work very deep. It's not that you don't work fast because you use the whole brain. Everybody uses the whole brain. The problem is how is the transition in between the left brain and the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. Okay? And when you start practicing all that, then you can become balanced, spontaneous, practical. And then if you keep practicing this, then you come what we call the fast thinking. That is when I say, look, it's using the entrepreneur, dynamic, symmetry, fast thinking, and you are in the higher level. But with being in this model in the higher level, it's not the top, it's in the between the second and the third level. I hope that you understand that it being in the second and the third level of the brain. I have a book with Marilyn Monda that is around. She will be taking all the, Marilyn Monda was the last people that work with Dr. Edward Deming. And I really like to thank Marilyn for what she did to me. She have taught me how to write, how to understand all this, how to talk to you, because this is not a one-person webinar. We wrote a book with what we call our in the Human Development Leadership, that you can go to the page of the Human Leadership Division and you can get that book for free. It's called the Personal Well-Being, Your Unique Journal to Success. And you will find many things of what we have talked here and other that we haven't talked, because still we haven't talked about eating, doing exercise, what kind of exercise you're going to do, all that will come in the second part. This is just the beginning, and this is the first part. It's just telling there is a way. If you talk about these 4 states, there is a way that you can think faster, you can memorize faster, you can keep your brain younger. It's not keeping your brain younger, it's because you are telling the brain how to work more efficiency. So I hope that with this presentation up to now, you have become familiar with the importance of symmetry in your brain and in your life. BPQD, Deming, plan, do, check, act. You understand how the use of science and symmetry principles can increase the possibility of success. If you get that, I will be very glad to tell you I am happy. And I am seeing something very interesting of the people that have joined us in this seminar tonight. Everybody is here. I hope it's all around the world. Nobody have left. Because for the next seminar, I'm going to tell you how to enhance your brain by developing a well-being program, a personal well-being program. But if you cannot download our book, Merlin and I and me, book, Well-Being, Your Unique Journal to Success, you can go to this page, ResearchGate.net. You get there, put your name, it's free, and you'll be able to interact with more than 20 million scientists doing science and doing management. It's not science. Science and managing, the combination that you saw here, and you can download many publications. But if you put my name, you go there, you can also have the book free for free. Hope up to now that you have liked. It's a different way of telling things. It's a different way to telling if you want to develop to be a better manager, a better leadership, you have to understand a little bit of science, because we are not governed, we are governed by some love of science here in our brain, in our thinking style. Next seminar, we will go to all these brain image, all that we do with our team to increase that. Hope that you have any question. They told me 45 minutes. I just did this seminar in 45 minutes and 30 seconds. I get from you 30 seconds, and I will be able to get any question from you that I can answer. From now, the only thing I have to do, thank you. Have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I wish you the best in this end, and I hope that this seminar today brings you a new way of things for next year, to have a better year, and not better year, better coming years. Because remember, what we want is that you can have a young brain for the rest of your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilberto. I have a question for you from the audience, and please, any other questions, type them on in, and I'll communicate them to Gilberto for you. Can you talk about the role of sleep in well-being?
The role of?
Sleep.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Sleep. That will come next seminar, next part. But let's go. Yes, it's knowing. We know that you have to put your brain to rest. It's not to rest, because the brain keep working when you are sleeping. But what we know is, if you sleep the necessary, no more, not less. Okay, you can have be more physical fit. If you are more physical fit, you are more brain fit. If you are more easily brain fit, we are the potential of success increase. So sleep is very important, as it's very important eating, as it's very important practicing, as it's very important the relation of with the other people. Okay, and if you told me of those, what are the two most important? I would say the two most important is the physical fit, and the other is your ideas, is your brain fit. And is brain fit, physical fit, that will be the first and the fourth state, getting together using the four part of the brain. And then you have eating and sleeping in pushing in order to get better work, better physical, and better brain. So sleep and eating is very important. It's like getting the water, a lot of things, minor things that make you have a, as I say, a younger brain in an old body.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Can I add
Go ahead,
something?
Brooks. Mm-hmm.
So this is Deepak again. While we are waiting for some more questions, I have posted the survey link in a chat section. Please take a moment and complete the survey if possible. That will help us to improve every webinar that we deliver. So again, Malin, back to you. But just want to mention that.
Can you guys
Thanks,
hear me?
Brooks. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was going to add something about sleep. One way to look at sleep is it's a maintenance function. If you deprive a person or an animal of sleep, they don't consolidate memory. They don't form long-term memories of the events that happen immediately before it. So sleep is very important as a function of reorganizing the brain for the next session. Good way to look at it.
Can I return to you that a little bit because you talk about long-term memory. Now we know that it's a combination of short memory that will become long-term memory. But the short-term memory is governed by chemistry, while the long-term memory is governed by physics. It's the same thing that I was talking here. And when you're talking, if you want to get to the long-term memory, you have to practice, but you have to sleep in order to make that practice attach better to the hippocampus, where is the memory thing. And that is why you need first the neurotransmitter working and then put the physical part. That's when they say the 10,000 hours. But if you understand that instead of 10,000 hours, you can get that in a few days.
Mm-hmm. And I assume this is someone asked about sleep apnea, which is interrupted sleep, where you actually stop breathing.
Yes.
And I assume that has the same effect as little sleep. Is that, or is it different or worse? Do you know?
The thing is, when you stop sleeping is very, very hard. And do you understand? Because the thing is that the apnea is something that goes constantly. It's not like if you are old, when you wake up to go to the bathroom, you get back and you get to sleep. That is not sleeping when you get back. But the other apnea, when you have it, is something that is constant. That is, it's like knocking the door, and the other is, okay.
Yeah. And do you have a recommendation for how much sleep?
The thing is, yes, let me tell you, I measure myself, my sleeping pattern. And let me tell you, when I decrease my sleeping pattern, my pressure, resting pressure increase. And I know the values, if the ideal will be between 6 and 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The ideal, no more, no less, but some people told me, I can do it with 3 hours. I said, look, that is okay, but in the long term, you will see what happens.
Well, 6 or 7 hours, but you're in your 60s, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, for somebody younger, it's very likely more than that.
Wow. That is very interesting. Yes.
And I have a question in Espanol. I'm going to try and read it to you.
Make it in Spanish. We want to hear you in Spanish.
Okay. ¿Cómo avisas para que las personas son más felices?
To be more happy. Look, that is something very interesting. Because of what I found, I tell you, 5% of the people have this success, but it's not that is happy. Because what I found is that happiness has to be with the non-permitted transition. Okay? So, the first thing is, no matter how is that people, I try to see how's the transition pattern. And from that, from what we found, we'll recommend where to go to put him in a level where the transition is permitted. It depends, because sometimes I always say, hey, what you need to be is more creative, or where you need to be is more contact with people, or more process with seeing into a process of more results oriented. It's a combination. But in order to be happy, you have to start one thing, having a permitted transition. Come to the second part, because we're going to talk all of this with number, with graphics in our second part seminar. Thank you for that question. It's telling me that is where we go in the next seminar. Tell your people that we will be doing this in a more practical way, and how we have worked in our division to increase the potential of success.
Yeah, I mean, I know the science is sometimes a little a lot for people, and the questions have focused more on the practical. But when you think about the science, Gilberto, what is, do you think, the one thing that people should go back to or look for more information on?
Okay, from the science point of view is, remember, I said this is not a combination of 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. The combination is more or less 30%, 20%, 20%, 30%. And what you want to have is that vision and that mission in your life. Where are you? Who are you? What is your knowledge? That is your mission, the present. And the other is the future. Where do you want to go? Are you prepared? Do you have the ideas? And then you have put the other thing. But sometimes most of the people are in the lower level. Another thing, if you let me talk about family, I found that more than 20% of the people with the potential of success with the transition in the front part, in the 30% over, come from family together. And that is family. All around the world, that is something that I have wrote on that, I have found, I do research on that, and this is a brain, I would say, a brain dynamic, that is brain dynamics, okay? Because you use the whole brain, that is something that I want to tell the people. You use the whole brain, but the front part is where you have that combination of mission, ambition, knowledge, and where you want to go, and all that.
Do you think that a leader needs to deeply understand the scientific theory in order to apply it?
Can you tell me again the question?
Do you think that a leader needs to understand deeply what you just spoke about today in order to do what you're going to talk about in the next session, which is apply it?
No. No, because a leader have the natural force, but they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge. And that is the first thing. And people, you know, that is why you see you are a leader for some time. You are a manager for life.
Right.
that I'm trying to answer in that way. You say, look, and why you are a leader for some times? Because you lack knowledge. You have those natural forces in you that put you, but sometimes you say, hey, you are lacking something that make you fail. And that is knowledge. And that is important when I say knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. And I say, look, now I'm telling you, my friends, those that are keep here, that are still here with us, is scientific knowledge. It's not knowledge, any kind of knowledge, scientific knowledge.
Yeah, I think that there's, here's a question. The difference between leader and manager, is it knowledge or attitude?
Wait, I told. It's a combination, put it this way. Results-oriented, practical-oriented, people-oriented, ideas-oriented. And I will say the difference, the difference is a combination, aptitude and aptitude, but I want to do it differently. And the most important part is in that a leader is very creative, while the manager is the innovator, that is the person that put the ideas to work. So it's a combination. If you have a combination between aptitude and attitude, the manager have to have a little bit more, has a more aptitude. The leader have more attitude. But then what you have a combination in between the two, that is the success in between leader and manager.
Thank you, Gilberto. I want to say how much we appreciate you talking about these technical issues, and we're very much looking forward to next month when you're going to make the bridge even more over into the practical. So, Deepak, would you like
Yes.
to take
Closing.
it from here?
Yes, Marilyn, Brooks, Gilberto, thank you very much. It was very interesting and eye-opening webinar. Other thing is we will post the recording of this webinar on Human Development and Leadership website. Please also, if you get chance, please finish the survey. And again, we do not send any certification, but you can use our email. Whoever attended this webinar for 35 minutes to 45 minutes will receive an email, and you can use that email as your credit for your continuing education. So again, thank you very much. Looking forward for second part of this webinar. See you next time. Thank you very much.
Happy holidays and see you next year.
Sure.
Yeah, to everybody around the world.
Great. Thank you
Thank
guys. Bye.